Hi, my name's Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules, and I've been nominated by the guys over at Cardboard Republic to do a short video on 3 games which I think are thematically related to Halloween. Now, this was an especially difficult challenge for me because most of the games I play are fairly meaty Euro games, and there isn't much of a story actually going on in the game in terms of, role-playing games or anything like that. Now, you could say that there's a story in every game. You are telling a story about the developing of your farm or moving 3 wooden cubes from one place to another. But generally speaking, most of the games in my collection don't have a story around them. So yes, I found this especially difficult. The first theme, or the first sub-theme, is spooky stories. And I'm going to cop out, actually. Although I do a lot of work for Czech Games Edition, I'm going to pick Dungeon Lords as my spooky story game. Now, you might be puzzled why. So the reason is that during the game, once the adventurers actually get into your dungeon, it helps me to actually tell a little story about what they're doing. Now, in the game itself, mechanically, you're solving a mathematical puzzle by choosing what monsters and what traps to use against the adventurers, because the adventurers have got a certain number of hit points and your trap will do a certain amount of damage. But the theme is there, and I really enjoy it more when I'm basically, saying, right, the brave adventurers have entered the dungeon and then they come across this rolling stone trap and then they fight this ogre and things like that. So for me, it helps with the atmosphere of the game and it makes it a more enjoyable game to play. There's also ghosts in the game as well, so I thought that was related as well to the Halloween theme. The second topic is Haunted House. Now, Erin's already covered Mysterium, so I thought, well, I'm not going to cover Mysterium, and went through my entire collection, and I came up with Mysterium, because I couldn't think of anything else, and I didn't have anything else that I felt fit into this category. But what I'm going to do is you might notice that this is Mysterium. This isn't some strange name that I can't pronounce. This is the latest version, the English version, which came out at Gen Con 2015. I really, really like this game. It's a game which I played with hardcore Euro gamers and my parents. And I don't think I've got any other game in my collection which I can do that with. And I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. It's a really, really good game. Now, one thing about the game is that the rules have changed from all of the different versions. You've got the original Ukrainian version, then they changed the rules for the Polish version, and then they changed the rules again for the English version. Now, it's essentially the same game, but the tweaks that they've made to the rules do make a different gameplay experience. And because I bought the English version, that's the one that I wanted to play. But after a few games of it, I felt that I wasn't too keen on certain parts of the gameplay. Specifically at the end, after playing a fully cooperative game, you're not allowed to talk to each other. So I've gone back to the Ukrainian version of the rules, which I feel is a much better game. And I remember once I'd decided on which version of the rules that I wanted to play with, I posted that decision to Twitter and almost everybody agreed and said, yes, you've made the right decision, play with the Ukrainian rules. So that's Mysterium. The third game, Trick or Treat. Now, this was another tricky one for me to describe or to choose a game for. So what I did is I took what Erin did, which was to pick a game that was a bit of a surprise. Now, I'm going to choose, and if you thought the Dungeon Lords box was big, Rodin Boat by Splotter. And I'm picking this because it was a bit of a surprise. I've had my eye on this game for many years because it's a game about setting up sort of logistical networks and building woodcutters that can convert wood into my sort of game, completely my sort of game. Heard it was quite heavy, heard it had hundreds and hundreds of components, but it was really expensive. So when I left full-time employment earlier on this year, I decided to buy myself a retirement present. Yeah, retirement. So I picked up Rodin Boat and I was fully expecting it to be multiplayer, solitaire, we're all doing our own thing, and I'd be perfectly okay with that. Turns out, couldn't be further from the truth. The amount of brutal player interaction in this game was surprising. Now, I don't normally go in for, take that, or I'm going to attack you, or anything like that. I don't normally go in for high levels of player interaction. But in this game, it isn't attacking the other player. There's no way you can do that. But what you can do is you can steal resources which aren't really theirs. Basically, the principle of the game is that there's loads and loads of counters all over the world, and unless those counters, which represent wood or geese or anything like that, unless they're on one of your transporters, they're not yours. If they're on a hex, which you think is your hex, those counters are not yours, which means anybody else could walk in and pick them up. And if you build a building, if you build the mint, which converts gold into gold coins, it's not your mint. You built it, but anybody can come along and use it. And first person there gets to use it on that particular round. So yes, when you start playing, it all seems all very, very nice and peaceful. But then as the game goes on, you end up with people moving in, stealing your things, which aren't really your things, but you thought they were. And it's very, very highly interactive. But that didn't put me off the game. I really, really enjoyed the game, and it was a bit of a surprise. So that's my 3 games, Dungeon Lords, Mysterium, and Rodin Boat. I hope that's okay. And it's now for me to nominate 4 people to give this challenge to. So the first one is F. Corinne Elaine from the No Pun Included. The second one is Robin Lees from Whose Turn Is It Anyway? I'm also going to nominate Edward from Heavy Cardboard. And finally, I'm going to nominate Travis Hill from the Low Player Count podcast. So there you go, guys. The challenge is out. I look forward to seeing your videos. Take care, and thanks for watching.